Yo, what's up, YouTube? This is your boy Jay from Keeping It Real, your arbiter of gaming news and commentary, hitting you off with a studio production video where you know this is your channel, where all gamers' voices are heard. With your boy Jay, always dropping the word. Keeping them other gaming YouTubers like, what you heard? And where you always know, we always keep it all the way real. So what's up, everybody? I just want to thank you all for checking out my studio production video today. And man, it looks like the hits just keep coming. When it's coming to Microsoft and the X, man, damn, X is just marking the spot like a mug. Yet again, it looks like the X is at it again, basically. And of course, I'm gonna go ahead and link this in the description, man. This is from GameSpot of all places. Is this going ahead and reporting that the Xbox X pre-order sales outpaces any previous Xbox, Microsoft, says. And I'm gonna go ahead and link that in the description for you guys. They're just basically reporting what, Microsoft's officials are letting know, man, that shoot, they're stunned and overwhelmed by the fact that this thing is just basically, out of all the Xboxes that's been released so far, it is the fastest selling Xbox ever. And I wanted to go ahead and dig into this as well. It looks like in other news that they discontinued the OG Xbox One, which is no surprise. And I just want to dig into these things, man. I think this is, not surprising to me. I all the way back, if you check my videos, I did a video on Scorpio Effect, one of my coming out videos, my introduction videos, where I was just stating this in the first place, that when it comes to Xbox, man, it's one of those things where this was going to be a thing. We knew this was coming. So now, I mean, even though the media and, the fanboys didn't see it coming, there, I mean, they're literally broadsided by this and scrambling to try to adjust. I mean, you got the fanboys trying to struggle to change the narrative to whatever they possibly can. Now it's all about exclusives now. Their biggest thing they're trying to harp on now is that, oh, well, you only got Cuphead and Forza, so there ain't no reason to get access. Which always, it blows my mind, because I'm sure these same people wasn't saying that when the PS4 launched with like knack and freaking Shadowfall. You know what I mean? Like, they had nothing for 3 years, and they wasn't saying that then, but whatever, I digress. But the more interesting thing, man, I wanted to dig into is the fact that, looking from these numbers, man, I'm gonna go ahead and call it, man, that it might, one of Microsoft's biggest problems for next year might be keeping these damn things on the shelf, man. Now already right now, there's, you got guys, like I said, I ain't gonna name no names, but are trying to make this that, oh, well, we'll see how well the X sells after this in these next rounds. I mean, they're making it like, oh, well, this is kind of like the limited edition Scorpio edition, and this is only rooted towards the fans. It's just the fans buying it up. They're loving it. And I mean, even Xbox is acknowledging that a lot of this is fanfare. The fans are pre-ordering it and getting ready because they've been wanting it. And you also have this whole perception thing that, oh, this is, more geared towards the hardcore. I keep hearing that word hardcore, and I'm thinking to myself, like, man, you're missing it. You're just not getting it, man. You don't get it. Like, if this console was $1,000 console, or anything over $600, yeah, then you could say definitely. If it hit that $600 and more mark, Yeah, you could definitely say it's hardcore. I would even be saying that. I would be saying, yeah, this is more geared towards a hardcore audience because in a demographic, because very obvious that, hey, you know, your average consumer ain't looking to be paying those 600 or more on a console. That's just not, I mean, you getting into that territory, that's just like, yeah, those are pretty much going to be for diehard hardcore people. They're going to be spending that type of money. But when it's $500, no, that's fair game. You know what I mean? $500 is well within the realms of fair game for a console. And it's not in that hardcore range. It might be in a premium range, but I wouldn't necessarily call premium hardcore. You know what I mean? So it's like this whole perception, I think, is just missing the boat. You're not getting it. And also the whole perception of, oh, well, you know, this is kind of like, I guess this was the Scorpio edition. Well, it deals good, but they're kind of trying to make it like, oh, well, the standard Xbox X is somehow, we'll see if it continues to sell like that. And I'm just like thinking, man, you're just not getting it. You're first of all, you're first of all, you misidentifying the demographic by just thinking it's people mostly hardcore, that you just misidentifying it, man. And then the second of all, you're not really putting everything into perspective about really how much for a demand this really is for this console right now. I did another video on just the lowest common denominator of the PS4. And I think that helps put it more into perspective that this is going to be a console that's going to continue to sell well. I mean, literally, I don't think that, and I just can't wait till this is proven, because it's going to show up a lot of these people who are, trying to claim it's hardcore. And you even got some guys on the Xbox side that are saying this not really, this misidentification, talking about hardcore. They're not getting it, that it's nothing about it hardcore. It's even casuals love this. I mean, they act like casual people who are gamers don't want the best games they can possibly get, especially if the value is there. I mean, at the end of the day, it all comes down to the value. And, they act like, casual people ain't looking for the best. And also they act as if, 4K is not a thing. You got to understand, look at everything, put it all together. Number one, 4K, this is even this 4K, if you really break it down, is the wave of the future. It's been 4K for the past 2 years. It's been one of the most sold items in the holiday seasons, especially. The 4K adoption rate is higher than what the 1080p adoption rate is. So now, yes, we haven't reached, 50% saturation on the 4K, and that might be a while from now, but that growth is growing exponentially. You know what I mean? It's growing at a constant and strong rate. And if you don't agree with me, you go ahead and go to Walmart, go to Target, go to Best Buy, go to any electronics retailer, and then try to go get a 1080p TV. You go ahead, see what happens. See what you find. See how many 1080p TVs you find versus 4K TVs. Then, if you find the 1080p TV, go ahead and compare the price of what the 1080p TV is to what a 4K TV is. And I'll tell you everything you need to know. That tells you supply and demand. You see what I'm saying? That is what proves what supply and demand is. It's really obvious to electronic retailers of televisions that 4K is here to stay. It's in, and it's loud, and it's here. It ain't coming. It's already here, and it's already in stores. And it's already at the prices of what a 1080p TV used to be. And I'm talking about decent sizes. I'm not talking about no 30 inches, some bullshit like that. No, I'm talking about decent sizes. I'm talking about 44 inches and above, 55 inches. You can get a 55 inch 4K TV now for next to nothing. All these, claims, people talking about $1,000. What are you talking about? Dude, you can get a Vizio for freaking 55, even 60 inch for in the neighborhood of $500. Look at what that used to be 3 years ago. You go ahead, look it up. Look at what prices used to be for 55-inch 4K anything just only 3 years ago. And I'll tell you everything you need to know. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they act like this is not the wave of the future. They act like, you know, you would have to be a hardcore person to buy into a console like an X. Like, you go, like any of these people who think this, you're gonna find out that this is not the case. You're gonna find out that there's a huge demand for a console that like the X. Like, it is a huge draw. Just that it is a console that can display a 4K. You look at what you were seeing on Digital Foundry. You see how giddy they were. You see the looks on their faces. And you got to understand, these are not your average consumers, right? These are not your casual gamer. These are people who know tech. These are people who know the intimate details of tech. And when you get them excited, you're going to think that's not going to excite the casual gamer when they see it too. You know, Microsoft seems to be doing this little thing where they're not, like, I would expect them, and this is what I would like to see, and where I thought maybe we would see more of, is comparisons, straight up comparisons. But I think what Microsoft is doing is they're creeping, they're pulling the curtain away little by little. And you can tell those guys from Digital Foundry, they seen what was behind that curtain, and they're loving it. And they know, shoot, this is gonna be the real deal. And you think once people finally get their hands on the X and see it for themselves and be blown away, that is only gonna appeal to only hardcore people? Like, I don't understand where they base the logic and common sense off that. Like, they act like casuals or people who would grow the platform, people who don't have a console or people who are looking into a console, just are not into nothing that looks pretty on graphics. Like, I don't understand that. Like, it doesn't make no sense, man. Because it's a combination of things. It's also what is the you know, you got to understand, they're going to be looking at more than just, wow, how blown away they are at the game. They're going to be looking at the other things that comes along with it, like the service, you know, and what it provides for them, and, you know, the features it provides for them. You know, example like a Ultra 4K Blu-ray player. You know what I mean? Example like Dolby Atmos. You know, the most high end of a sound system. You know, like, these are features when they look at the box, or when they look at the features online, or that they go down the line of things that it could do. It's the total package that is going to appeal to people. You know, along with what's being talked about in the media. You know, they act like casuals don't actually look into that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, we're in the day and age of technology. You can Google shit. I mean, you act like, you know, they can't do that on their own. They actually just, you know, when all it's about is piquing a person's interest. You know what I'm saying? And that's what this is doing. Like, when you look at media right now, like I've said before, whether it's good or bad, all the talk is about Xbox. All the talk is about Xbox. And what happens in an event like that, people take notice. I mean, when you got this thing like Taco Bell is doing, people, like I was saying before, people who would never even have nothing to do with it, look at it and say, who? When you have people winning Xbox from Taco Bell, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to win that Xbox X that never would have gotten one. But when they get their hands on one, that changes things. You know, it's all about the perception, and it's all about service, and it's all about image, you know, of, you know, that's what in people, and that piques interest, and that appeals to people. So whether they're hardcore or not, you know, and it's like, I feel like when they make that statement, they just misidentify things, and they just miss so much that all the other aspects to it. They're looking at only one aspect. And it's the same thing when, you know, there's a lot of Xbox guys that gave Microsoft a lot of crap for the kiddie games that they showed at Gamescom. And I'm thinking to myself that it wasn't hardcore enough. It's like, oh, they want blood and guts and gore. And I'm thinking to myself, man, y'all just missing the boat. You're not getting it. Like, you got to understand, man, that they're a platform that wants to be open to many different variety of gamers from different ages. Like, what do you think? They're only a platform that's only going to just be tailor-made to you and only just your demographic? Like, yes, there is kids. There is millions of kids that plays on the Xbox. Let you know. You probably, maybe you're not aware of that, but yes, there's millions of kids. All my kids play on the Xbox, okay? And they're from Reeboks to Minecraft. They got all types of kiddie games that they play, and that's fine. They're kids, but they all play on Xbox. So they act like there's not supposed to be kiddie games for a platform that is in my opinion, one of the most diverse platforms that there is. So yes, that means kiddie games too, along with the blood and gory games, right? Like, but they just don't get it. Like, they just think, oh, well, Microsoft is supposed to tailor make themselves to me only. Like, dude, this is a business. You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I see this a lot, man, where, I see a lot of these, whether Xbox guys or whoever, man, it's like they don't get the point of anything other than what is for them. Like, they don't understand, like, okay, if you're talking about it from a business standpoint, from a company standpoint, you got to understand that they have to open themselves to many different demographics, bruh. Like, get that. Like, you know what I mean? So yes, they're going to have Zukai Tycoon, and yeah, they're going to have, Just Dance and whatever, whatever kiddie, game that they got, they're going to have that. Yes, all these little different things. And some of these games you might be interested in, some of them you might not be. But, of course, they're going to appeal to the kid demographic, But at least they got diversity, you know what I mean? Where they got, if you like Japanese games, they getting them for you. And that's another thing I would like to say, man. This is a thing that you're going to see, man. Everything perpetuates itself. So when you see developers talking highly of the X and how easy it is to develop for and how quickly they can, you don't think that's going to bring in even more Japanese third-party developers? Of course it is. This is the reason why the field is already making a large gains on third-party Japanese developers. This is, I guess, a secret. It shouldn't be no secret. It should be obvious that a lot of people don't know. A lot of these third-party developers that were exclusive to Sony, they could easily go over to Xbox. They're not Sony's exclusives. They always get touted as Sony exclusives, like they have all these exclusives, but no, a lot of those are third-party developers that could easily go to Xbox, and that's what you're gonna see. You're already seeing it, and that's going to continue. That's going to just get more and more, where you're going to see a lot of games that was previously on PlayStation. They're third-party developers. They're moving over to Xbox because of the power of what the Scorpio is and just how easy it is to develop for. So the thing is about it is, I think one of the hardest things is going to be keeping these damn things on the shelf. I'm going to be the first to say it. If no one else is saying it right now, hey, I think one of the hardest challenges that for Microsoft, and I think they've never dealt before, and we're already seeing signs of that they ain't gonna be able to make enough of these damn things to keep them on the shelf. They're gonna run into almost like a Nintendo situation, even though I think Nintendo can get enough out. I just think they BSing. But that's another story. With Xbox, I think straight up, when people are talking about price and all this, and it's too, no, get out of here. It's gonna go down just like I said. People will always buy for the value. Price doesn't matter when it's valuable. You know what I mean? Like, you only argue about price when it's something you don't think is worth your money. It's just as simple as that. People say what they want, but that's a reality. That's facts. That's life. That's life. You can't go around life. That's the nature of the thing. That's what a lot of people need to understand. Nature of life. You ain't gonna change that no matter what way you go. Okay. Fact is, price only comes up when people are determining the value, or whether that's valuable to them or not. And I think that's what Microsoft is easily doing when they all they got to do is just have it be displayed at GameStop or wherever, and when people see it, or when people see the comparisons, that's going to give them the value. The services like games, especially if they're offering good bundles, like, you know, bundling in Game Pass and stuff like that, it's the value is what people are going to look to. That's what people are going to feel, hey, ain't no problem to pay $500 because it's valuable. Right now, it's obviously at a price point that is worth well more than $500. And that's what it's going to come down to. When you have a product that could easily, you know, be on the level that it could be $600, but you're selling it for $500, people are not tripping that they're buying it for $500. You see what I'm saying? And that's what it comes down to. And really, when it comes to the X, that's where it's at. You know, and that's what people are going to see. And I'm saying really right now that I think this thing is going to be hard to keep on the shelves. They're going to be, you know, man, Microsoft is really going to be struggling to keep enough of these out to make sure they can get, you know, everyone who wants one can get one. Because I don't think these things are going to stay on the shelf, especially through this holiday season and on to next year. I don't see that really balancing out until maybe the middle of next year. You know what I mean? Where really people feel like, okay, you know, that initial big wave of people who are buying it. But I also think that it's going to keep perpetuating itself, because you're going to see happen is a lot of these big games that are going to start coming out, games like Wolfenstein and you know, games like Evil Within. When people start looking at how good that looks on the X, especially when the bigger games start coming out next year, like Red Dead Redemption. Well, Red Dead Redemption got delayed, but but I mean, it's supposed to come out next year. Red Dead Redemption, or God forbid, Anthem, or any by this time. And especially, you know, Crackdown, you know, by this time, you got to understand that you're going to have millions upon millions of people who now brought into the Xbox brand and that are loving the X and loving the services that they're getting. That's only going to perpetuate more sales. You see what I'm saying? That's all it's going to do. And that's going to keep the driver for sales on the X, and when it comes to demand, very high. Very high. It's going to consistently, when these haters are sitting out here acting like, oh, well, you don't have no games, you got Cuphead, you got they're going to find out really fast that, man, if you're missing it. You're not getting it. You're talking about one aspect, and you're not putting together the whole story. You're just talking about one puzzle piece, when the whole big picture is right there. You're focusing on one little part of it and thinking that that's all there is. That's the problem with that. That's the problem with that whole notion of talking about exclusives. Yes, exclusives is a factor, but that's one factor, bruh. You can't base everything off that one factor and act as if, oh, that's the reason why it's going to be unsuccessful. That's the reason I ain't getting it. You're missing it. You're just missing the whole big picture, bruh. And you're also missing it when you're sitting up here talking about it's a hardcore console. That's just like, you're missing the whole picture, bro. You know, you're looking at one little aspect and you're not seeing the big picture. So, yeah, man, I just want to break that down, you know, do a video about that, man. Let you guys know, man, shoot. I think one of their challenges is going to be keeping this damn thing on retail shelves next year. I mean, I think that's what's going to be tough, based on all the factors looking at the big picture, as opposed to just looking at one thing and then trying to extrapolate from one thing. You know what I mean? And that's why I see a lot of, and it's all, you know, discrediting the amazing feat that Microsoft has accomplished with this Xbox. You know, being the most powerful and at the same time being the smallest. Like there's so many things. The vapor chamber cooling, which is like, I mean, they pulled out all stops, like, you know, to make this thing what it is. And I just think always, Microsoft just doesn't get enough credit for what they're really doing when it comes to innovation. You know, they're pushing us forward in the console market in a place that we've never been before. You know what I mean? And now there won't be any going back. Xbox will be the new golden standard to console gaming, bar none, period. And if you think that's not a system seller, you better ask somebody. Sorry, yeah, man, that's the end of my video today, man. If you dig my content, go ahead, like, share, subscribe, to your boy, man. Until the next time. This is Jay. I'm always keeping it real, and I'm gone.